The first recurrence is from a primary occurrence, or the many colors of light put through a prism yield white, as the many colors of smoke, dust, and light-retarding materials mix together to make black. Distinction of colors over the horizon line of the nose, reiterated with control of the light-blocking hands and feet hovering above and in front, with the accents of the baby's heart and the impulses and explosions from the infant lungs, air wafts across an animal who traversed many foliages to smell, feel and consume the botany of many lands, the meat of the fowl, fat of large game. Mnemonic and dynamic distinctions can be inferred, and that inference can be expressed the same way a detective sniffs out what he scapulates upon, what he is suspicious of and acts upon his suspicion or denounces his trust of his own suspicion's sake because the god of Google predominates and he retires or becomes melancholic or God forbid melancholic in public. But what is that encoding? What is that private language you wish to mask in public, which is now expressed? You got married for the public safety, and now you want to reap the rewards for your obeying. Moo big boy. Again, recurrence is a manifestation of distinction which pre-linguist beasts not unlike yourself. That is to say, beasts who are together put similarly to one another, more specifically Homo sapiens, abide like, sense like, feel like, look like, heartbeat like, breath like, grow hair and beards like one another, but not without distinction, but never emulated characteristics. And Wittgenstein denotes this distinction with non-humans as lines, who we as a species classified to be like, but only out of sense to distinctions, or reasonable but non-real distinctions. Occurrence happens upon distinctions and recurrence, or the cog which the nose separates and eyes make statically aware the feet intervene at differing intervals and the larynx exhales and inhales in a certain repetition of orchestra of data. The dynamic mother engages in pitch distinction as well as playing with the baby's physical environment and social interactions, which articulate difference and accent similarity, not dissimilar to applause, clapping one's hands. Occurrence is confidence of common ground than one's own ground, as well as the first recurrence was when one's ground was sensed pre-linguistically and one bellowed as a baby and not like a baby, but without having the tongue to twist and palate to articulate what it understands as it registers its first recurring response from its mnemonic father. Confidence of the ground does not leave when blinking, and this confidence runs deeper than semantics about belief. We must remember that we are nervous creatures, Nietzsche. We sense a common world in which the first occurrence of public agreement agreed upon, and generalized within that specific language, and linguistics recognizes differing languages on this common planet, this non-civil dry to be civil planet. The unpredictability theory justifies against another thought that begs for the pre-Enoch planet, but overtakes his bias insistence that since one can infinitely recur in data one generalizes and makes distinct in focus that we each also experienced occurrence prior to the dynamic expression of a newly speaking infant, in the form of controlled impulses of one's mortal physics revealed to our public under Google and YouTube. Recurrence and the cognition of that recurrence allows our jointed beasts cognizing processes to refract upon the first recurs I am recurring, and then meta-joint is complemented when the first recognition differed itself the first cognition. The third and conveying thought is overshadowed as absurd as the anti-sympathetic parrot's nose is to the human nose. But this absurdity does not overshadow the fact and the words that we use to point to facts, as we later learned that the adolescent cannot make metaphor of giving birth, until it rises in understanding of that where when came an occurrence I find recurrence, and upon cognizing this recurrence I find myself recognitizing or recurring the cog. We have found the basis of logic and reason, building a common text so that a common context can come into frame. Infinite recurrence is the language pitting at itself and noting that the language process is swept with data stimulus, physical expression and the rudiments of noting a context of contexts which are like themselves found within the pulse of a human life, articulating and exhaling with their mouths and later with their hands. The pathology of language is the root at which the Tractatus Philosophicus is grounded. result of primary recognition of a logical space in which language recognizes via Wittgenstein a number of logical possibilities. Rationality can distill itself down to live identity is rooted as the base from which sentient distinguishment of light, sound, color, taste, and texture, which allows English readers to hear this. Nor did a pattern in infinite data interacted upon cognition, nor did itself, and became recurrences which defined dualism, and then rationalism, and logic, and calculus, and then theories of language as far as language detaches itself from where it once came, its attachment. God is our mother. To you I obey with a candle ring through my tip. One adheres to it justifies and or buttresses the primary diachronic occurrence of an ancestor, tapping the ground. Left. No trace of its phonic occurrence, but the recurrence a father sees in its offspring is beyond the impulses of the mother. God of infinite recurrence is the undenial of your mother. This is true, my diseased smoking June bug. Who wants to war with Chomsky because he is building a machine to filter your words and judge your life due to his very powerful work. Grounding on self is found where one is confident of ground. This ground is grounded in physics, and objectivism as physical science performs itself correctively. One may ground with their feet in the air and within the floating possibility of language about language, but one will find their universe as a nucleus of a cell, but is simply obstinate or abhors the outer protoplasm. A fly within a fly bottle escape.